So, Frank says, say hello to Frank.
Hello, Frank.
Ask how are you, Frank. Ask how are you, Frank. Say how are you, Frank.
Hi, Frank. Hi, Frank. Don't my face. There's that one on my face.
Not that one on your face.
That one on my face. It went on my face. I went on my face.
Oh, let's turn that off. See, Tony's here. Say hello, Tony. Say hello to Tony.
Hello, Tony. How are you? Coco. Coco I do bug.
So, it's a little bit of a takeover today, it seems like. Don't start pressing stuff. Say hello to Russ.
Hello, Russ.
And to Laura. Say hello, Laura.
Hello,
Say hello to Ash.
Hello,
Ash. CW. Say hello to CW.
Hey, CW.
Hey, you're going all shy now. So he's taken over already. So let's see.
W. Go. Get.
What's your name, Vicky?
Ow, 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 ow. Uziyun wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Thanks everyone for coming in tonight and joining us, everyone. So Zaki's taking up. Are you gonna let me speak? Okay. No. His mum's threatening to take him away. So Tony, thanks. I'm gonna look at a new house on Tuesday. If I buy it, it has a space I can put a studio at home. Tony, your studio looks like a thing of beauty. Absolutely awesome job. Absolutely awesome job. Malcolm, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Say hello to Malcolm.
Hey, Malcolm.
That's what you're going to do. You're going to say hello to everyone. Honestly, it looks an absolute awesome job, and I'm looking forward to what you're going to do out there. Dan, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Nahid K, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Where's that gone? Where's that gone?
Where's what gone?
Where's that gone?
I don't know what you're talking about, mate.
Where's that gone?
So, best tip to keeping chickens. Keep them clean. Keep them clean. Keep them run. Give them plenty of space, as much space as you can give them. And they're not hard to look after, chickens, at all. As long as you keep them clean, keep them with fresh water, fresh food every day, and they're fine. They're really easy to look after, really easy to take care of. They're not much trouble at all. Give them plenty of protection from foxes and other animals that'll get them. I mean, we had a bit of a bad problem. We had a bit of a bad problem recently. And one of my neighbour's dogs got in and killed a couple of my chickens. So I'm not going to use chicken wire again, because chicken wire has quite big holes. So I'm going to stick to using the wire mesh. So that's another thing that I'd consider when you build a chicken coop. You biting me? Build a chicken coop is to make sure that you can protect them from predators. But apart from that, yeah, they're really easy to look after. They take care of themselves. They're absolutely awesome. First video is a collaboration already filmed. Just needs about 2 weeks of editing. See, yeah, editing's absolutely quality and yeah, very nice.
In a week.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Oh. I have a new phone. I'll message you the number. Nice one, Frank. Nice one, Frank. Don't put your fingers up my nose.
I'm not doing the one. I just found one.
Andrew, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I'm 1 day post surgery on my nerves and in my elbow. I'm quite sore but healing with my family dining just now. Andrew, I'm really sorry to hear about your elbow. Don't do that.
Okay, shall we go
That
now?
sounds quite painful. That. What's been going on with your nerves? 1 inch welded mesh is what I use. Russ, that's the stuff I'm talking about. The wire mesh.
Shall
Um, what I did on the base of the chicken coop, I thought, yeah, I'll put the wire mesh stuff on, and then I thought I could save a couple of quid by using the normal chicken wire, and that was just it was just a stupid mistake. It's lasted me. I mean, it's done well. I mean, it's lasted me
we'll get
nearly
noodles.
10 years.
Oh my day.
That was loud. It's lasted me nearly 10 years, but my neighbour's dog managed to get in through that and cause some havoc. But yeah, it was a bit silly. I should have gone for the wire mesh all the way around.
Yeah.
That was loud. I think you've just
Frank's
blown.
gonna
I think
drink
you've
it,
just
baby.
blown everyone's ears out.
Yeah, he does know.
Have you made a video on growing Bangladeshi beans, Dan? I have. I've got a video from last year on growing Bangladeshi hyacinth beans. So I have got that video up. I mean, unfortunately, quite a few of the plants. Unfortunately,
If he's messing up,
no, not wee wee.
I
Unfortunately, quite a few of the plants got battered this year by the wind, so we didn't do an update this year. But last year there's a few videos on there, and up until Novemberish last year, I was harvesting them in the greenhouse. I can't believe it's been a week since the last live already. Time flies so fast now; it just disappears. Becky, thank you very much for coming in. Um,
I'm going. If you need, I'm gonna
no,
put live on the thingy. If you need me taking, just tell me come and take it.
okay. Andrew had a nerve opposite operation in my elbow last year after getting wiped out by a car cycling home from work. It wasn't pleasant. Andrew, Frank, I didn't know about that. Sorry. Um, how's your arm now, Frank? Dean's lost the plot is here. Dean, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Isabel, thank you very much for coming in. Ow. What's the matter? I'm gonna look at that. Never tried them before. Dan, they need a longer growing season than your conventional runner beans and stuff like that. But if you can give them the warmth, especially when they're starting off, they'll do really well. Um, we planted a couple, and every year we do the same thing. There's there's one variety that has that's more prolific than the other. So from one variety we get quite a few beans, and the other one we hardly get any flowers. And every year we say we're gonna plant this one, and then when it comes to planting time, we mixed up which one works and which one doesn't, and then we end up planting both. So I grew hyacinth beans this year, lots and lots of leaves, no blossoms or beans. See, Rada Khalil, that's what I was saying. We grow a couple of varieties, and I can never remember which one's which. The packets on the seeds that are in Bangla, and unfortunately I don't read Bangla. My wife does, and I keep saying, "Okay, you're going to tell me which one's which," and I'm really bad, generally with labels. Can you stop? I know, Zaki. Um, let's see. Let's try and catch up with everyone's. Rahman Raj is here. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Karen is here from Trinidad and Tobago. How is it over there at the moment with the weather? Out of the blue. Okay, can I speak? Out of the blue, my little finger and ring finger died, and I started dropping things, so I needed the nerve releasing on the nerve reposition surgery. Oof. Andrew, I don't envy you at all, mate. I don't. I hope you're on the mend. A grow light's worth getting. Newbie gardener here. Grow lights. Up until last year, I didn't have grow lights. I've done all right. I mean, the thing about the grow lights is they can extend your season, and they can give you an earlier start to the season, and they can give you a later finish. So one of the things that I benefited from having the grow lights this year was that I could get my chilies started off in January.
Chili.
I got my tomatoes started off in
Tomato.
February. So times when normally people say start your tomatoes off in March, April time. I got them started off in February, and I harvested tomatoes from June this year, a lot earlier than everyone else. So that's the one advantage of
That's
having.
one.
No, if you carry on like that, you're gonna go, mate.
No.
Yes.
That's just it.
Um,
That's just it.
Scrapping Irish is here. How are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. I
Also,
hope you're well.
now I do.
The Studio O'Neill. How?
What are you doing?
What am I doing?
What are you doing?
You're stealing the show again. So let's see. Hang on, you're not letting me.
Answer.
Doing better. Been down the plot, playing with my fire again. Can you? Ow. Before. See. Yeah. So what? Zaki, you got me in trouble last time you did that. Sit down. Relax. So he needs to go to gymnastics. He needs to do something to calm him down because he's absolutely bonkers. Let her write on a marker in. It'd help, it'd really help. But like normal, I don't think that far ahead. Still a slight loss of feeling into the little finger and ring finger on my left hand, but the wasting has stopped, and I have a lot more strength back in my hand now. Can you come and take him now? Because he's starting to. Yeah, I think it's time for you to go, mate.
No.
Yes.
I'm scared.
You're not scared.
See,
do you know whenever he doesn't want to do something, that's it. He's scared of everything. Do you know? It's time to put your trousers on. No, I'm scared. Okay, that needs to go on silent. Let's get that on silent.
And the other house.
CW the required for starting season early if you wish to grow in the winter or extend the season. Yeah, absolutely. My best friend is from Trinidad. I learned how to make dal puri and pol puri from her. That sounds nice. Emran Ali, assalamu alaikum. There's a real world friend of mine. Thank you very much for coming in. Andrew saying up here, I couldn't hold a fork to eat. It got embarrassing.
Something.
Guys, I don't envy you at all. Top tips for growing rhubarb. I tried this year and thought it would be easy, but snails and slugs had their lunch early. I thought rhubarb was solid. Andrew, do you know rhubarb's one of those plants that, for me, once it gets its the way I planted rhubarb was just a bit of manure in a hole. Bit of manure, bit of compost in a hole, and then just put the crown in, and I just left it be, and it's quite. Once it gets established, it just looks after itself. I'll tell your mum to come and take him because he's jumping about too much. I can't control him. So grow lights would be good for microgreens. Caroline Gray's here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Scrapping Irish, it's good to see you in here, mate. It's really good to see you in here. Rhubarb is solid, but when the root system is young or compromised, they attract the slugs in. Yeah, so once they get established, they're absolutely fine. They take off like a rocket, but it's just getting them established, I guess. Harley Gold, thank you very much for coming in. Binge watch you, brother, as I thought I bought a greenhouse a few days ago. Not a problem. Jazakallah for all your advice. Not a problem at all. Barakallah fi. Jeannie Carpenter's here. Thank you very much for coming in. I hope you're keeping well. Can anyone... What? Zaki, it's time for you to go, mate. Soon. as soon as your mum comes up to take you, you're gone. Simplify God. afraid to say I have lush rhubarb, but I use sluggo. The voracious Devon slug won't eat it. Would eat it otherwise. Um, Jeannie, is that even once the plant's established? Because our plants are absolutely solid once they're established. Uh, ours got so big. I moved one plant and it carried on growing. A bit of the root stayed in the ground and it carried on growing. I had to build a hot compost pile on top of it to get rid of it. we rhubarb, for us, rhubarb's one of those plants that not many of us eat in the house. We'll have the odd couple of sticks, but then we're stuck with what to do with it. So it was always one of those plants that we just grew to give away or just grew to make more compost. Can you go and tell your mum to come and take him? Welcome to the Saturday night fun house. My kids are this. Shut up.
Don't get me out there.
Are you gonna behave?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you
Right,
sure?
so
See,
you're messing about. I'm gonna come back again and
is
start.
is it buffering anywhere else? I don't know why it's buffering out. We've got a pretty strong signal here. I started my chilies in September and had a prolific crop this year. I germinated them in an airing cupboard and placed it on the windowsill when there was daylight and used cheap grow lights here and there. See, Dan, that's basically what we do. We plant our chilies. We planted our chilies in December, I think, and we've got loads on the plant at the moment. Absolutely loads. Some really nice chunky ones. And then all we do is we get we get morning sun through the front window in the morning, and then from mid afternoon the sun's in the back window all day. So the plants go on the front windowsill in the morning, and from about 12, 1 o'clock they're on the back windowsill. That's it. He's gone. He's gone. Bye bye. Oh man, that was he's bonkers, isn't he? He's absolutely bonkers. RG Software 2000. Blueberries tough to grow for me. Plenty of ericaceous compost. If you growing them in a pot is a lot easier than growing blueberries in the ground if you haven't got naturally acidic soil. So lots of ericaceous compost, mulch with pine needles, mulch with oak leaves, and keep the pH below 5, and they'll do fine. I don't understand why you guys have slugs if you have chickens, but I also have frogs in the garden. Might be an explanation. I'm wondering whether to have a little frog pool in my future plot. Isabel, that's a great. Do you know the frogs? What you mentioned there, absolutely brilliant. The frogs make a massive difference to slugs. Frogs and toads make an absolutely huge difference to the slug population. So what we've done in our garden is we've got small micro ponds. So just little buckets, little bowls scattered around the garden. So with a couple of hideouts next to it, and all that is a brick with a slab on top of it. So they've got somewhere to hide, somewhere damp to jump into, and every now and then we'll come along if the bucket fills up with too much leaves or too much dirty matter, we just tip that bucket onto our garden, fill it up with some fresh water, and they're away again. But the frogs make a huge difference. One thing that I don't do is with my chickens, I don't let them free range when I've got delicate plants in the garden, because they'll cause more damage than the slugs will. If my chickens get onto the garden beds, they'll just completely destroy everything. So what I do is I'll through the winter they'll be all over the garden, keeping insect populations down and breaking pest cycles. They'll do that all the way up until early spring. But when I'm planting outside, they've got to be restrained a little bit. I've had to put the chilies to bed every night in the airing cupboard. My RJ, you'll need to plant them in ericaceous soil or they don't do well. Absolutely. Any tips on good feed mix for blueberries in large containers? I'll be putting them in ericaceous soil, but wondered if there's anything good for a boost. Anything with high potassium and anything with in the springtime, what I do with fruiting plants is I feed with nitrogen, so they put on a lot of vigorous growth, and then lots of as soon as not when they start flowering, but before I'm expecting them to start flowering, that's when I start giving them high potassium, high phosphorus feeds, and basically all that is banana banana peel fertilizer, anything made out of fruit fertilizer, basically a fruit punch or a fruit smoothie. I fertilize it with that, uh, and that'll give it that potassium and phosphorus boost. What is ericaceous soil? Ericaceous soil, you can buy that specifically from garden centres. It's a type of compost with a low pH, so acidic soil. So made for stuff like rhododendrons, stuff for if you want to turn the colour of your hydrangeas, if you want to grow blueberries. So it's acidic soil that they need. Use BFB and also dust with sulfur that will reduce the pH for you to 2. What's BFB, Tony? Good dog, thank you very much for coming in. I hope you're keeping well. Nebul wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Guys, if you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like. We're at 24 people, 25 people, 16 likes. Let's get that like count up a little bit. Buy it in bags like compost. Yeah, absolutely. It's a There we go. Lots of people. I'm way behind in the chat, so loads of people are answering questions before I'm even getting to them. Uh, grow your own. Mine are in a mix of 50 erication compost, 25 farmyard manure, and 25 fresh topsoil. That sounds like a good mix. That does it make sense having just 2 chickens to help start my fertilizer and composting and cultivating eggs? Yes, it does, Karen. 2 chickens is if you don't need that many eggs, 2 chickens is fine to start off with, and then I'm sure it'll happen as it happens with everyone else that once you start once you start getting into the keeping chickens, you always end up with wanting more and more. We only started off, I think, with 4 chickens to start off with, and at one point, I think at our peak we had about 19, 20, something like that. Um, uh, and when we've got that many chickens, we've got more eggs than I know what to do with. Um, but yeah, because once you start seeing all the different varieties, you just want a little. Some of the other ones, like I got some Polish bantams, and the only reason I got the Polish bantams is because they look cool. And then I got a couple of silkies, and the only reason I got that silky was because he had a little quiff on his head, looked a bit like Elvis. Not brilliant egg producers, but they look cool, and they all have their own little personalities as well, so it's quite nice. You haven't seen the Devon slugs. If they're anything like the northern slugs, I'm getting those yellow slugs at the minute. Do you know those yellow green ones? Loads of them. Not the leopard slugs, but the ones the parasitic slugs, not them, but the ones that will destroy your plants. Um, and because of the colour, they're harder for predators to get. Rhubarb makes a great plant food as they're accumulated just like comfrey. Yeah, absolutely. See, most plants with a long taproot will make a really good feed. So things like dandelions, things like dock, um, naturally will act in the same way as comfrey. Uh, they eat everything here. My rhubarb is well established. Snails still play hide and seek amongst the leaves. Uh, what's Tony saying for you for? I don't know. Rhubarb jam is easy and yummy for excess rhubarb. Uh, I'm not sure who's saying hello to Dad. Is that Toyib or is that Khadija? I don't know. Dad's just been battered with. Laura, use nematodes that will rid them from the area. See Tony. What Tony's saying is absolutely spot on. You know, I really, yeah, like the use of nematodes. And do you know what? Once you've got, I've not applied nematodes this year at all. Last couple of years I used to use them, and this year our slug population, generally our pests have been really, we've really struggled. We haven't had many pest attacks at all this year. We had a few in the greenhouse from greenfly, but it feels like the garden's starting to come to a balance. But we'll see what happens next year. Most got yellow leaves, green veins. Uh, most got yellow leaves, green veins. I'm not sure what that's through. Uh, oh, where am I? It feels like I'm way behind in the chat. There are videos online showing you how to make your own, as they're expensive to buy. Rhubarb is great mixing in applesauce. Let's see. Is it ethical to transfer toads from my garden at home to my allotment? As long as you're treating them nice, I don't see why not. I don't. I wouldn't have a problem with it. My chickens only in the winter. Yeah, my chickens are only in the winter too. I tried sulfur, maybe did too much. I try ericaceous potting. The thing is with sulfur is it's not stable, RJ. So you put sulfur in, you just have to keep applying it to keep the pH down, um, because it will, it will oxidize, and um, it won't last in the soil. So it's not a stable way of decreasing the pH. My opinion, you can't beat Classic Victoria. What's Classic Victoria? Owen Harris, the Welsh gardener. Thank you very much for coming in. How are you doing? See, there's a young grower there. Absolute inspiration. Good man. Keep it up. Um, so if you don't, yeah, give him a bit of encouragement. He's a young lad working hard. He's working hard on his allotment. He's working hard producing content. Good lad. Give him a bit of support if you don't know him. Isabel, we've had champagne rhubarb growing for years and we love it. Champagne rhubarb, interesting. Dean's lost the plot. Wetter than an otter's pocket out there today. Like, how's everything keeping it? I can't even, Dean. I can't even read your comment, man. I don't know what's wrong with my mouth. Before I forget, you can also buy ericaceous liquid feed and slow release granular feed. It is sometimes labelled as rhododendron feed. Blueberry plants have been in the wrong soil all this time. Now I know why this looks sickly. Dean's telling me to catch up. I'm trying to, Dean. Dean, I'm trying to, man. Well, no greenhouse, and I'm on top of a hill. A roast chicken mat. That's what I'm on about. Chicken mat. You buy one chicken and you end up with 10. Grey Morans are my favourite. Nice speckled eggs. I've always wanted. I like the speckledy hens. I had a speckledy quite a while ago, um, but I'm always getting like old hens, and I'm growing them on. I had a few. I've still got a few hens that I've grown from eggs myself. But most of my hens have been. I bought them old, and that I'm sort of serving as their retirement home. So I want a speckledy. I want another speckledy. So we get apart from, we're expecting quite a few deaths at the moment with our chickens because most of them are 7, 8, 9 years old, if not even older from when I've got them. So I'm down to 7 at the moment, which is probably the lowest number I've had for a while. Welcome to the Saturday night. How much does your chicken look like Elvis contest? Drops Family Garden. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. He's cooking some lunch. I'm up to 125 seconds to still not caught up. Monty's a week behind again. I start. It was Zaki. Today. I'm gonna blame it on Zaki because he took over and sent me off on one. I started my rhubarb from seeds this year instead of roots that grow very well. Dean, sorry, Tony, you didn't tell me what that BRB was. How do you use it? Um, I started my rhubarb from seeds this year instead of roots. They grew very. You grew them from. I've never grown rhubarb from seed. That's interesting. 220 seconds. Thank you, Simplify Garden. I've just watched your video. Tony, was it Desiree variety of rhubarb? Desire variety of rhubarb. Sufia Devan, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. How are you keeping? If you say hi now to Sufia, Monty will reply sometime on next week live. I can't be that far behind. I've got to be close to catching up. If you, everyone's saying okay, lots of hellos. Does it make a difference whether you have frogs or toads? Isabel, I don't think it'll make a difference for the slugs whether you've got frogs or toads. As long as you've got something, I think they both eat slugs. I've never looked at anything that says who eats more slugs. Um, but yeah, I'm happy for either of them to come in. The only thing that you've got to be wary of when you've got frogs and slugs and frogs and toads in the garden is, do you know, if you ever strimming the edges of the grass or anything like that, that's one thing to be wary of because you could end up hurting them. So what we always do is I set the kids loose for a while, um, and they chase most critters away. I'm buzzing about the soil sieve, compost, bad boy on rims. Made my own with Tony at Simplify Garden video help, but mine is powered by child. CW powered by child is brilliant. Did you see my chicken compost video? I also have a child that powers mine. Dean's lost the plot. Type faster comments. Dean, are you just trying to trip me up, man? Caroline saying hello again. Thank you very much for coming back. Jamila Yang, walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. So sad because my goose destroyed my bed. Everything's gone. I had to do it. Oh no. Jamila, we were just talking about that not so long ago about chickens and things like that. When they're brilliant to keep pests and stuff under control, but they can cause so much damage to your own plants as well. So one of the good, I mean, if you can build some sort of barricades, some wire fencing or something, and then it'd be good to then you could let your pets roam free without them causing so much havoc. I keep saying I'm going to do that, but then I never do. Would slow mode help your end on tech? CW, I think part of the fun is everyone just winding me up about me being way behind in the chat. uh, Owen, not a problem at all, mate. Not a problem at all. Um, Sorry, not sorry. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Jamila put a netting around the yeah. I look after my neighbours' chickens when they're on holiday. Not sure on the breeds, but there's some. Oops, I just lost that comment. Um, but there's some battery rescue hens, so they'll probably be things like Warrens and that kind of hybrid chicken. Um, they're probably the friendliest chickens that you can get. I really like them. They're good family chickens. Then I've got two what are they called, Leghorn bantams, and they're mean as anything. Do you know, they're proper mean little chickens. They're proper mean. One of them gets broody, and if you ever try and get an egg while she's broody, um, we have to use a sweeping brush to try and push her to one side. But even then, she'll put up a fight with the sweeping brush, and then she'll be all over your hand, pecking away at you. She's absolutely mental. Patricia, thank you very much for coming in. Better late than never. You missed the Zaki show. No, you're never being caught up. Honest, you need to skip by the time you get. I'm getting there. Dean, I'm getting there. Still not caught up. Just had to cook for dinner for the missus. A friendly friendly. I can't even say it. Friendly food forest. Thank you very much for coming in, mate. Joshua, how are you keeping? Your 10-day compost video. I'm glad you like it. That's one of the videos that quite a few people got. Well, it's been my best video ever. Um, yeah, what can I say? Deploy the kids and save the amphibians. I love that. uh, watch. I did see it. Watch it after the live last week. Starting now. Timing on my watch till he reads this out. I'm pretty much at the end. I'm there. I've got there. Dean, I'm there. So, well, I think I'm there because the comment. There's everyone stopped typing. um, so I'm gonna have to head off. Got some schoolwork to do tomorrow AM. Owen, crack on with your schoolwork. That's more important than sticking around and watching me blabber on. But yeah, good man. Keep up the good work. You take care. I'm there. I'm there. I'm so. They're so clever. The netting have gone to. They've got the netting as well. You've got some clever geese. Uh, Excellent garden is about done. Still having a few things. What have you still got growing, Joshua? Agreed. Watching paint drying is better. I need to get rest of my squash out, but I've got no car at the moment. 3 mile walk to the plot. By the time I get there, I don't want to do anything. Russ, you can always get a lift there, and then or bus it there or something, and then carry two squash back in each arm, and then do your weightlifting as you're coming home. Turn the garden and garden into gymming. um, s- some chickens suffer from not being able to brood. Their hormones heat up the chest, and they're uncomfortable unless they can transfer heat to the eggs. So you can give them fake eggs, but we'll stop laying. Yeah, some of my bantams get really broody, and they're really good like that. My Silky, she used to be brilliant. She used to be an absolutely brilliant broody hen, broody head, a broody hen. Um, she's the one I used to raise some eggs grown from seed, from from chicks grown from eggs. Sorry if I missed anything. I had my mother on the phone. Tony, how's she doing? Is she okay? Put them up your top and hold them. What are you putting up your top? Or power walk back with squash weights. Carrots and a few herbs, so that's what you still got growing. We've got cabbages outside. I'm gonna keep. I've started off some more pak choi and some komatsuma and some to go in the greenhouse. I'm gonna underplant my chili plants with them, and I've got some carrots planted in the beds in the greenhouse as well. But all of my outside garden is mostly done. I've got my garlic to go in when the weather lets up and gives me a day. I can get outside and get my garlic in, and I've got loads of onions started from seed, so I'm gonna get them out as well. Um, but yeah, so once that's done, everything else is just covered with cover crops at the moment. So there's loads of mustard, ryegrass, vetch, um, yeah, clovers, loads of clovers. I use wooden eggs to stop them eating eggs and to help deal with broodiness. See, it's not a bad idea that using the fake eggs. I like that. I like that. I've got one cabbage left, and the rest went to seed. I was reading about putting in coriander now in polytunnel, and then not sure on this. Um, Russ, what I'm doing with coriander, or what I do with coriander, is I start now at this time of year. I grow them in pots, so I sow them in pots. keep them in pots. You can keep them in outside as long as they grow outside. Sorry, let me explain it again. Plant them in pots, start them off in the house, take them outside into the greenhouse, and leave them there. As long as they seem to be growing okay, then they're fine outside. But the minute they look like they're struggling a bit, they'll come back inside, and you'll be able to grow coriander all the way up until the end of November very easily. That's what I do anyway. Um, you can sell chicks if you have a good broody hens. Too much eggs to do in. The only problem is, Isabel, that I can't have a rooster. And because I can't have a rooster, I have to buy in fertilized eggs. So fertilized eggs, and if the hen doesn't, if they don't all hatch, then it can get quite expensive. So I probably do a brood every couple of years, rather than regular. But if I was allowed to, I'd have a rooster. Um, I mean, I don't know if everyone knows, but I've mentioned it a couple of times before that uh, I nearly got an ASBO for having a rooster. The council were threatening to take me to court and give me an ASBO because for having a rooster because one of my neighbours complained. Frank, the answer to your question is yes. I'm not sure what the question was. Garlics, onions, and broad beans this month outside. That's Yeah, I forgot about broad beans. That's another one that I've been meaning to get started for a couple of weeks. Mine are full cover crops weeds. I wanted to do lettuce but didn't make it. Thanks, I need to get garlic in. Needed a reminder. And any overwintering onions as well. Excuse me. Oh, naughty. To know is here. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I hope you're keeping well. Has anybody noticed that the seeds this season were not as advertised on the PCB pack? What's PCB? Wilco has sold out of onion sets. Um, Good dog. I'd start them from seed. You can get loads of onions from seed, online from seed, and I'd just start them from seed. Get them established. Um, if you plant them now, in a couple of weeks they'll be up. Um, if it's too cold by the time they're ready to plant out, just move them to a bigger pots, and then early spring get them planted out. Because remember, onions bulb up according to the day length. So as the day lengths get much longer, that's when they'll put on root growth. So as long as you're putting on plenty of leaf growth inside the greenhouse or inside a polytunnel or indoors somewhere, you can just plant them out early spring. Da, 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 da. Cheers, Tony. I got the apple one. I do the same with the wife. I leave a couple of dolls in the room. She will then leave me alone. Oh, naughty Dean. Bought extra chicken feed. Some people are saying that they're having trouble getting feed for their animals, and the price is going up in the USA. Drop. That's a good reminder. I'm not far away from running short. I've probably got about another couple of weeks feed supply left. What I do is I normally buy about 6 weeks. No, yeah, about 6 to 8 weeks worth of grain in one go, and I feed that. But I'm always topping it up with fresh leaves. Sorry, fresh produce from the gardens. Stuff like chard and spinach leaves that we're not going to eat. That all goes to the chickens. Um, any grass clippings that goes to the chickens. They eat what they eat, and they bin the rest or compost the rest. Tony, what was that stuff you recommended to reduce the pH? I think you said something like BRB. Can I do garlic in and sulfur as well? But I'm not sure what that BRB is. Can I do garlic in 5 litre pots outside? In 5 litre pots, I think you could probably grow a couple of bulbs in a 5 litre pot. Um, the root space, they don't need that deep, but they need width. So I normally grow garlic about uh, what do you call it? About 4 or 5 inches apart. But people will tell me that I grow them very close together. I don't see it as a problem as long as your soil's fertile. It's not a problem to grow them close together. Yeah, I don't see it as an issue. Um, Normally, people advise grow them about 6 to 8 inches apart. I don't think you need to go that far. I get rescue birds, X batteries, and rehoming. Um, I have a rooster, no animal restrictions here. Drop your lucky. We need something like that. Yes, Andrew, but a 10 litre plus would be better with some manure in as well. Did anyone else see the woman who hatched ducklings from shop boxed eggs during lock? No, Laura, I didn't see that. That's in, where'd you see that? That's that sounds that sounds something, doesn't it? Um, I like the sound of a rooster in the morning. We have a farm just down the road. Free to laugh. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Tell them it's an emotional support rooster. Do you know what? I told the councilwoman that it was it was the children's pet, and she was having none of it. She was like, "Yeah, you still got to get. Why don't you just eat it?" I'm like, "Did you seriously tell me to eat my kids' chicken?" Um, but they weren't having any of it. There was, then, yeah, they were going to send me an ASBO. So I was this close to having a criminal record for having a rooster. um, I'm gonna start my shallot seeds soon, I think, and try to overwinter them. I think you should. I think it's a good time. I think Dean, have you started your chicken? Have you started your onions yet? I was going to say, have you started your chickens yet? Uh, Zabroon, I think, is the main. Um, 5 litre pot is a little light and could get blown over when when it grows taller. That's a fair point. That's a good point. Um, thank you. I've got coffee grinds, eggshells. Will that help? Tony, not Tony. Andrew, I think that'll be fine. Um, right time to put the kids to bed. If you're still online, see you soon. If not, see you next week. Dean, you take care, mate, and we'll see you again soon. Three roosters here between neighbours. It's a concert from dawn until night. Other neighbours don't complain. We're in the majority. So you look it. Do you use grain or layers pellet? Russ, I use layers pellets, but I just said grain. I've lost myself in the chat now. Both both should help, but Tony and Monty might know better. I think they'll do fine. BFB was bloodfish and bone. Amend it was sulfur. Bloodfish. Okay, there we go. I was thinking, what do those initials stand for? I didn't harvest some of my garlic. Will it come back again next year? Yes, it will. What will happen is if the garlic split into the garden in the place, you'll get a plant for each clove. Alex Express is here. How are you doing, mate? Long time no see. Hope you're keeping well. Uh, on local news, she bought duck eggs and hatched them. That's amazing. I can't believe that. Aren't they supposed to be infertile, the stuff that they give us? See, do you know now you're talking about ducks, Laura? You're giving me an idea, you know. You're not, you give me an idea because I could have a male duck and he doesn't cock a doodle, does he? So that's not a bad idea at all, you know. Um, I think that I think that hatching from store-bought eggs is one of those myths that circulate on the internet. Um, I have to grow. Sorry, can't stick around. Good night, Sophia. You take care. Thanks very much for coming and spending some time with us. Hope you have a good week. Dean's onions are massive. Yeah, they are. How long do you take to get? How long does it take to get that? He's done a video on growing giant onions. So if anyone is interested in growing giant onions, it's well worth a watch. Um, my rooster is golden laced window, colourful looking bird. Is that the Kellogg's? I think. Is that the Kellogg's rooster? Do you know the Kellogg's cornflakes rooster? I think they look pretty mean. But the thing is about roosters is they just look awesome, don't they? They just look absolutely awesome. Do you know the colours and the way they strut around, and they know that they're top dog as well. Nick's allotment diary just popping in to say hello. Sorry, I haven't been able to join the chat before now. Nick, not a problem at all. I hope you're keeping well, and I hope your family's keeping well as well. I was actually, Tony was mentioning talking about his mum, talking to his mum earlier, and I was thinking, how's your mum doing? Is she all right? I saw that, Laura, and I think they said quail eggs were the easiest to hatch from supermarket. No way. Lol, being on tag for having a rooster. Ducks, ducks eat slugs. Yeah, that's one of the things that Bill Mollison says, that when you've got a slug problem, you haven't got a slug problem. You've got an absence of ducks problem. And when you think about it, a garden, because how unnatural gardens are, um, we're completely messing with the ecosystem. So bringing in things that'll help try and bring it to a balance, that'll be help. Ducks are great for slugs, but messy. I was See, that's what my mum says. They're really messy, and they're a bit more. They're a lot more finicky than chickens to look after. Because I was thinking if I could, have a male duck and a couple of females, and then we could breed the ducks. Might have been an idea, but when you say that, that's exactly what my mum says as well. Ducks are great, but need the space, and they smell. I think most eggs from the supermarket are sterile because they're from professional farms and not interested in feeding roosters. That's what I thought, Isabel. Muaz, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Roosters are great, better for the well-being of chickens. He keeps the peace, and he's a good watchdog as well, because they keep an eye out and they keep everything in order. But they're also really good at making noise if there's a predator or something around. Um, yeah, the rooster almost hit the pot. I was feeding them, and the rooster crowed right into my ears. Drop. Do you know when you're saying this rooster's a jerk? We had a rooster. We had a rooster, probably about the second year we started keeping chickens. The first rooster I had was a really nice grey one. He was a mongrel rooster, so he wasn't a pure breed or anything, but he just looked brilliant, and he was really nice, calm rooster. But a fox got him. A fox got into the garden, attacked my chickens, and the rooster ran at the fox and basically sacrificed himself for the rest of the herd or the rest of the flock. So that was my first rooster, and then we got another young rooster. Now he was a horrible little brat. He didn't like my son at all, and he kept on. Anytime he saw my son, he'd attack him. He'd attack my son all the time. He'd just do you know how the roosters jump up and fight? He'd do that to my son. And one day my son went out, and he pecked at my son, and he took his glove, and they ran into the house crying. So I said, right, that's it. This rooster's got to go. And that evening he was dinner. That was the end of that story. um, can you make videos of harvesting all sorts of vegetables you plant? We've got check out. I've done a couple of harvesting videos recently. At the moment, there's not much to harvest. I'm going to be doing one on harvesting stuff from the greenhouse, like chilies and stuff. But just harvesting videos. I can do what I can do something, something additional to what I've already done. But the only thing is they don't get loads of views. Uh, in permaculture, they recommend Indian ducks stand up, very straight and very funny. I think Indian run ducks are brilliant. Uh, I used to be able to get the vocals cut. Not saying I agree with it, but it's still is this still a thing? Russ, yes, it is. They don't cut the vocals. What they do is they stick something down the throat and pull them out. Started, but it just disconnected me. So it disconnected me for it's disconnected me for some reason. But I'm back. I'm back. Um, Evening. Just realised the time. Late again. Got my granddaughter here, so didn't realise the time. Here for here for the last 5 minutes though. Um, Family time's more important. Don't worry about it at all. Thank you very much for coming in though. The rooster starts crowing when he wants some bread for a treat. um, let's see where we've gone. Nick, I hope all goes well. My mum is well, thanks, Monty. But today I've had to take my son for a COVID test. He's got a cough and a child in his ear has. Oh, Nick, I'm really sorry to hear that, mate. Um, I've, how old is your son? I'm really sorry to hear that. I really do hope everything goes well. Um, my granddaughter here is not a problem at all. Um, Here in San Francisco, we can keep up to 4 chickens without a permit, including roosters. Free to laugh. You're lucky if you can keep a rooster. I'd have one any day. Amazing. Sorry guys if I was buffering. I'm still here. Uh, Friendly food forest. Thank you very much for that. That's a very kind of you. I appreciate that. Um, what was the reply to the cockerel with the vocals cut? So yeah, what I was saying is you can still get what they do is they put something. It's like a set of tweezers or something, and they pull out the vocal cords. They still do it. Um, it's I don't really like it. I don't really like that idea. Same with like you can get choking collars for the rooster, and it's supposed to stop them from crowing. They still make some kind of noise, but it's not as loud or anywhere near as that. But but again, sometimes if you don't fit them right, they can be really uncomfortable for them. So that's one of the things. I've thought about that. The collar around the neck. I've thought about that and maybe try that. Um, he's 14. Hopefully, he's just a cold. Nick, fingers crossed for you. 14. I hope he's he should be yeah. I really hope everything goes well. He should be. He's at an age where he'll even if the worst is there, he'll pull through it quite well. I think. Um, but we don't want anything. We don't want that though, do we? It's hard to plant broad beans, and will this? Is it hard? Moaz, no. Broad beans are really easy. Broad beans are absolutely easy. Just get a toilet roll, fill it with compost, put the broad bean in there, and then come spring or come whenever the plant's ready to go outside, just plant the whole thing in. Really simple to do. Please hit the thumbs up, guys. Please, absolutely, please. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, please hit that thumbs up. I'm free to laugh. Thank you very much for that very generous donation. Really appreciate it for the Rooster Defence Fund. Oh, that was a quality comment as well. Oh, that's brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. If someone complains about my rooster, I'm getting 100 more. Drop if you can do that. Just hit the like. Thank you very much. If you have, yeah, I appreciate that. Um, Scary times. CW, it is. It's not. It is worrying. My nephew's off school. He's having to isolate for 2 weeks because someone in his year is has got COVID. But his brother can still go to school, and his sisters can still go to school. Not a problem. But my nephew can't. It just makes no sense sometimes. Um, but I don't know. I don't know. I'll be direct sowing my broad beans this week. Double plant each bean, one for the vermin, one for the crow, one to grow on. Just need to be an aqua dulce variety. Um, aqua dulce is good. I grew Whitkeim or Whitkeem or some. It's pronounced something like that anyway. I grew that one outside last year and they did fine. I direct planted them. If you get them up early, they grow fine. Um, Maybe if I walk with the rooster and started our day earlier, we'd get so much more done and sleep earlier. Mother Nature is. Do you know, Andrew? Do you know what I used to do on a Saturday and Sunday? Right, I'd get up for my morning prayers, and then after my morning prayers, I'd go back to sleep. For the last 3 weeks ish, what I've been doing is I wake up for my morning prayers about 6:30. Once I've finished them, me and my wife, while the kids and everyone are asleep, we just go for a walk. So we can go out for a walk, get back home by about 9 o'clock. 2 3 hour walk, 2 3 hours outside, just us to relax when no one's about. And the kids, we've done it while the kids are asleep, so we're not out and we don't. So it's nice. And I totally feel you on that. If you can get up and get out a bit earlier, and then yeah, it makes that day so much more fruitful. I think. Um, Isabel, no collar, no pulling vocal cords. He wouldn't be very. He would be very unhappy. Can't fulfil his function anymore. Talk to that neighbour. Give them eggs. Explain the role of a rooster. Say your chickens are unhappy. Um, the problem is, I don't know which neighbour it is. I've got an idea, and I've got an idea, but I don't know exactly which neighbour it is. I mean, uh, the neighbour I've got complains about my hens. So I don't know how because they're complaining that they bring rats and stuff like that. But there's rat. I mean, there's rats in the garden. My hens aren't the problem. My hens aren't causing the rats, but there are things in the area. But we don't get much of a rat problem anymore because I brought in loads of neighbourhood strays. So there's a cat that's moved into my greenhouse. My old greenhouse. There's a cat that lives in my old greenhouse. Uh, a nice. She, I mean, she's friendly, but she won't let us get close enough to stroke her. But there's a cat that's moved into my garden. Blackfire love broad beans. Dan, you're right. I mean, this year I grew broad beans outside, and I didn't have any issues with blackfly. For most of the season, I had a little bit of an issue with some mealy bugs on my cabbages, on my kohlrabi, but I didn't have any issues with blackfly or anything like that because what I do with my um, my delicate plants is I plant them in the middle of some smelly plants. So my broad beans were planted in the middle of my onion bed. So I had a row of onions, and then a few, onion, broad bean like that, and then more onions, and then in front of that I had mustard and coriander and radishes and stuff, all sorts of things mixed up. And I didn't have any issues with black flies on my broad beans. And it's the first year that I actually grew broad beans to eat. Normally, I grow broad beans and I grow them as a plant that I'm going to cut down and make use as feed for my garden. But this is the first year I actually ate them, and I didn't mind them actually. So that's a first for me. Um, Dean's Lost a Plot is back. Thanks very much for coming back. Dean. I'm keeping on top of things at the minute, man. Uh, I think I've fallen behind again now though because I've lost where I'm at. Um, so that's why I'm trying to plant this side of the new year so that they're up and out before the worst of the black fly. Dean, I'm all right, man. I'm doing all right. Still walking, no biking. Still walking, no biking. I'm not sure what that comment. I've got maybe 2 3 weeks before it freezes. I'm looking. You know, I think this year is going to be a cold winter. You know, I think it's going to be a very cold. I can feel it. I don't know why, but I can feel it's going to be a cold year. Just feels like one of those years that everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and I think it's going to be a cold year. But I'm hoping for a good snow covering at least one at one point. I want to take my kids sledging, proper sledging. Um, got some got some guinea get some guinea fowl. They will soon get. See, someone, do you know, when I was going to get that Asbo, I wrote on Facebook chicken keeping group. I was going to get. I'm being threatened with that, and they suggested just get some guinea fowl and let them free, because guinea fowl will more than likely survive on their own, um, and they'll cause a havoc. They'll cause a riot. I am, mate. I'm doing better today. How's your chest infection at the moment, Dean? Well, obviously there's the answer. uh, I planted my broad beans 7 days ago indoors and they're growing fast, but I'm worried about planting them outside with the heavy rains we get in Manchester. Don't worry. Once they've got a nice root ball on them, nice root set established, and they look fairly strong, get them planted outside. Give them a stake and tie them in quite quite well so they don't get blown over. The rains won't be a problem. The only thing that I'd say that's a problem for broad beans is the wind. I think that causes more damage than cold and rain for those kind of plants. And I think I'm falling behind in the chat again. Grow your own chicken turkeys would do the trick too. I don't like the look of turkeys. You know, they look weird. I sowed wasabi spinach seeds yesterday. I'm excited. Wasabi spinach? Is that different to just wasabi? I've not heard of that before, if it is. I think we need a good cold snap this year to help keep the pests down. I think we do. Last year's been too warm for the last few years, Russ. I keep saying that you know, it seems the winter's just not getting that snow covering and we're not getting that cold. But you're right. I think we do need that snow covering. But I think this year, I just got a feeling. I don't know, but I feel this year is going to be cold. If it is, you can call me psychic. I can feel it in my bones. Uh, could do it down to your. That'll be nice. That'll be funny to see Dean sledging down the A1. Talking about turkeys, have you seen what M&S are charging for one this year? No. Um, is it going to be expensive? Just find some code violation in your snitching neighbour and turn them in. They'll soon quit paying attention to you. See, I was thinking of complaining. Do you know, it'd be a horrible thing. But they've got some kids that they're about 12, 13, young teenagers, and they're foul mouthed. Really horrible. Some of the stuff they say. Um, I told them off not so long ago because one thing that I'm very strict about in our house is we don't use that sort of language, and we don't let you know we don't let the I don't want my kids growing up thinking that sort of language is okay. Um, so yeah, I was thinking about having a complaint, but I don't like doing that sort of thing, man. I don't like doing that sort of thing. Um, where am I in the chat? I think I'm a bit. Am I catching up? Where am I in the chat? Buy a peacock instead. The neighbour will probably think that your area is going up in the. how much space would you need for a peacock? Because their tails are huge. Um, I think I'm gonna stagger mine with the onions and garlic. Um, Russ, it really does work, man. It really does make a huge difference. I saw it. Yeah, turkeys sound weird. There's I saw this video of a while back where this guy goes into like a turkey shed and he does that. I'm not gonna do it. He does that sound for the turkeys do, and then they all copy him. I don't know if anyone's seen that video, but I thought it was hilarious. um, I think the ground solar minimum will affect the weather in the UK and northern US. Anyone heard of this? Um, Drop talks about that quite a bit. From £67 for a whole one to £50 for a crown. How much different is that, Frank? Dean, if you're still running Picasso in winter, you'll be sledging down anyway. uh, I'll be calling you something while I'm digging out my car in the snow, but I don't know. You can come into the live stream and tell me what happened. They're selling a lot of the food in China this year. They get flooded and their crop failures and livestock has been decimated. I think we're in for a tough year. I think, but the problem is once they set that stage where everything's more expensive, it's never. Do you know, like one of the things they teach in economics is aren't prices go up quite freely, but they're very sticky when they come down. Um, so I don't think they'll come down that way. They'll go up, but they won't come down as much as they should. Um, you Brits are crazy about Christmas. Talking about Christmas turkey already. It is depressing. My bell peppers are still outside. Isabel, my, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I love Enconna. I threaten my kids with a teaspoon of Enconna hot sauce if they swear. Russ, yeah, I think you do right, mate. I think you do right. I don't think young kids should be growing up with that. Yeah, I'm just strict that way. Um, I mean, my big brother, he pretty much raised us. He was my male figure when I was growing up, and you could get away with murder in our house when he was around, but if you swore, if you ever you even the S word, if you use that, then you'd really be in for it. And I think what he did was absolutely right. I think what he did was absolutely spot on. Um, well, you don't report them, you just mention to them, makes them. Do I need to feed heavy clay soil or is it already full of nutrients? One of the good things about clay is that it's got most of the minerals that your soil will ever need. Um, the bad thing is the clay is hard and it's sticky and it's most of it, especially when it's not being cultivated, it's very compact, so it will need amending. It will need lots and lots of organic matter. I don't think you can add too much organic matter. Manure's brilliant. Compost is good. Any type of mulch is fantastic. Whether you mulch with leaves, whether you mulch with straw, grass, wood chips, whatever you mulch with, I think mulch is the most important thing. Um, and I much prefer mulch with some sort of recently living matter, so something that's recently died, rather than using compost to mulch. I like compost to grow in, but I don't like compost to mulch. When you don't interest in GSM, I think Grand Solar minimum. I think a greenhouse is the answer for some things. Cold hardy plants could help. I think cold hardy perennials are definitely a way to go forward. Uh, I'm buying. I was looking at some cherry bushes this year, so they're not cherry trees. Cherries are notorious for growing into massive trees, so they're not always suitable for a backyard setting. What I'm looking at is buying some. What they've done is they've brought cherries and they're growing them on a really dwarfing rootstock, so they don't grow bigger than a bush and they grow like a bush. So I'm looking at buying some of them this year, and thinking of making a living hedge out of some cherry bushes. But they're not cheap. They're about £40 a piece. So just for three plants, I could be talking top side of £100, and I think that's pretty much my budget for a year's gardening. And most as Frank, you know it. I don't like I don't like spending in the garden. Um, well, you don't report them. I read that one a couple of times. Where am I now? Turkeys are awesome. I'll to do one next year with the chickens. If I grew some turkeys, do you think people would buy them? Because I'm really tempted to get some bigger livestock. I'm really tempted to get some pygmy goats. Uh, I'm so I was looking at the council because you have to get a plot number and you have to get a keeper number, and once you've got that, then you can go ahead and buy them and keep them. I'm really tempted to do it, man. I'm really tempted to do it. My kids would love a goat as well. Uh, I don't know. I don't know though. I'm so tempted to do it, but I just have a bit of doubts. Um, but I'm scared about all the paperwork. That's the biggest thing that's putting me off. That's the biggest thing that is the biggest thing that's putting me off. Um, Sorry, not sorry. Yes, you can grow saffron. Um, you'll need to grow a lot to get them to flower and to produce something. Because remember, from each flower, you're only going to get 3 strands of saffron. The way to and they're not like the normal crocus plants. They're from I think the crocus sativa, um, and they're autumn flowering rather than spring flowering like the traditional crocus plants that most people grow in this country. So if you grow them, then you'd need to keep them dry autumn time. So this time you'd need to keep them dry because this is the time that you're going to be harvesting your saffron. And if the flower opens and you don't pick the plant and if the flower opens and it starts raining, that's your saffron gone. So it can be a difficult one to grow, but it is possible. If you've got somewhere sheltered, then definitely I'd go for it. What I'd do is I'd go for it in pots. Um, like just like a crocus pot that you'd set up for normal crocuses. Set that up like that, and then when it gets too wet, or if it gets too wet, move them to somewhere sheltered. Uh, the crown is just okay. The crown. So breast is 50 quid. That's a lot of money. That. Um, where am I? I'm falling behind a bit. I'd happily be a neighbour. Let me know if those pesky neighbours are selling. Andrew, yeah, I'd love some good neighbours, man. We've generally got some nice people on our left side. There's a really old couple, really sweet old couple. I mean, my kids are out in the garden all day screaming and shouting, and the old man every time he sees me says, "I just love that sound." Do you know? I love the sound of kids playing. Um, Absolutely amazing guy. Do you know? Really nice guy. Sorry, Isabel, I finished my my last YouTube video is a massive green pepper harvest just in time. Feel free to check out the channel. Um, Spitting knowledge. I've been digging it and breaking it down with a fork, and it's in a better state. The one issue you're going to have is once you get a lot of rain and the soil becomes heavy again, next spring it's just going to become compact again. So organic matter, any addition of carbon, that's the thing. That's the way to go. I never plant bushes around the house as it will give rats a place to live. Um, I want some strawberry. I have a dwarf stock cherry tree. I'm about to chuck out. Why are you chucking it out, Frank? Um, don't you go to the realm of selling meat unless you